Need Pokemon Go PvP coaching? Well, I'm on Metafy. So click the link in the video description, it'll take you right to my page. What's up guys, we got the first Open Great League team video of the season. Before we get into it, huge shout out to my Patreon supporters, could not be doing this without you guys. But yeah, like I said, let's get right into this video and talk about the team a little bit. So, Azumarill Double Ghost, not a very novel idea, right? I will say that I did think up this team quite a while ago. Obviously, the first Azumarill Double Ghost was Though Tactical's team with Alolan Marowak. This is a bit of a different team. I think Trevenant works a lot better here than Alolan Marowak. The main thing being that it's actually a good Pokemon. In this case, this was the team I was planning on making my final end of season push this past season in Season 9, but I accidentally made that push in Kanto Cup instead of Great League. Otherwise, this would have been the team that I would have ran. I wrote out a guide for the Patreon supporters and everything, just so everyone can kind of learn how to play this team while I didn't have a video out on it. Now finally Great League has rolled around without the consequence of losing a leaderboard spot, so I was able to test this team out myself, and honestly it's been a lot of fun. There are a couple core breakers, and I'll get into that later in the video. A couple Pokemon that you absolutely need to that you'll have a very tough time against if you don't play it correctly, and even if you do, sometimes it's tough. Let's look at movesets really quick. We've got Azumarill. I run Play Rough and Hydro Pump here. I think you can run Ice Beam instead of Hydro Pump, but then you're really giving up the ability to beat Bastiodon in that lead role. If not, then Azumarill loses to Bastiodon. So it is kind of a tough scenario. I guess you could go for the Bubble Down and then swap the play that you'll use against G-Fisk leads that I'll show in this video as well. But Ice Beam does give you a little bit of an advantage versus Pokemon like Nidoqueen and Trevenant itself. So I could see arguments for both. As far as Sableye goes, obviously you want the Purified Sableye if you can get it. We got Foul Play Return. And then Trevenant, obviously there's no real choices for movesets here. So Azumarill, if you look at my Azumarill, so this is actually a big deal. Usually IVs don't matter so much, but for Azumarill, my Azumarill does not have good IVs. It has very bad IVs, in fact. And the reason I haven't built a better one yet is because I'm waiting for that like high rank one. But it doesn't seem like it's meant to be for now, so I'm using this. There are many games, and I'll point them out, where I lose because of Azumarill being non-XL, I guess. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. So if you do have an XL Azu, this team will do much better for you than it did for me. For example, my Azumarill goes down to 2 Earthquakes from Stunfisk. And yeah, the bulk is significant for XLs when you have good IVs or bad IVs. In the same vein, my Sableye is very good IVs, so it does win the Skarmory matchup. So if you guys are playing this, you're like, wait, my Sableye loses to Skarmory. Well, that's probably why. My Sableye is XL, so it takes a little bit less damage from those air slashes. Anyways, let's get into gameplay. We got Trevenant lead. We're going to swap into our own Trevenant. Normally, Sableye is the safe switch on this team, but when you have a Pokemon that Sableye is much better against, so for example, Hypno or Trevenant or even Nidoqueen, swap in your own Trevenant and let that Sableye try and clean up. It's not like Sableye is that bad of a closer. I'm throwing with pretty bad timing here, but also getting pretty bad luck with these move sneaks. As in they're sneaking every time. But I'm going to shield up because I want to win switch here. And I should be able to farm down with Trevenant. In this case, I'll likely only be able to get to a Seed Bomb versus this next Trevenant. Hopefully they're not counting. And they're not, so they shield up. And now I've got switch advantage, so I'll be able to get my Sableye on this Trevenant. And in the 1 shield, it's not too bad because you can tank a Shadow Ball. But in the 2 shield, if they land a Shadow Ball, they can actually just Shadow Claw you down. So they can take switch advantage. In this case, final Pokemon is Galarian Stunfisk, so it makes a little bit of sense. It's Trevenant double tank. Galarian Stunfisk versus Azumarill. A bit of a tough matchup. Like I said, my Azumarill is not XL. So I farm up a little bit more. We're going to throw the Hydro Pump because I'm not running Ice Beam. Ice Beam is something that also helps with Galarian Stunfisk. But yeah, like I said, 2 Earthquakes is enough to take out my Azu. Not everyone else's Azu. In this case, they actually bait and then throw the Rock Slide. 2 Rock Slides is also enough to take it out from this from HP, whereas an XL Azu would not. They swap in Trevenant. I'm going to take that thing out right away. I don't want to take any more residual damage. I know that with a shield, I can get to a Foul Play versus this G-Fisk, which is likely going to be enough. And then I will just need to shield up 1 move, if they even get to it, and farm down. So, again, my Shadow Claw through. They threw all their energy though, so this is the only Rock Slide they'll get. And the team is going to pick up yet another win. If for those who have not been paying attention because you're listening to me, thank you. But also, that's 3 wins to start out this set. Pretty strong start. The second ever set I played with the team. Galarian Stunfisk lead. This is an interesting one. So I like to just tank an Earthquake on Azu and then switch out. If your Azu is XL, you'll tank the Earthquake much better. And this will be an even better play. I'm going to come in with the Sableye at this point. Sableye and Trevenant are both very good against a half HP G-Fisk, whereas if they shield up Hydro Pump, I can actually lose that matchup. So in comes their own Sableye. And at this point, I kind of want to save some shields for Trevenant too. My Sableye looks to be doing pretty well against theirs. I could have actually maybe went for the full farm down, but instead I'll go for the foul play. Just trying to guarantee myself switch here with a little bit of HP, or enough HP that I can get to a move against this G-Fisk. 5 Shadow Claws away from a foul play might have me CMP tied with this G-Fisk, which would be the best case scenario, which I get. So yeah, if you win CMP, just go for those CMP ties. They'll be forced to throw energy, and then I can come in with Trevenant or Azumarill here and farm down. I think I go in with the Azumarill and throw the play rough, actually, to force the shield. I know I'd be farming over 100 either way. They actually shield up and throw a move. I'm not going to shield. I know that I'm going to save my shields for Trevenant. My Azu barely lives that, but at the end of the day, it's a Venusaur in the back. So I'm going to stay in with that Trevenant, and that's a classic G-Fisk Sableye Venusaur team, right? So it's a little bit of a team read there. I'm very surprised that they actually shield their G-Fisk. In this case, Nidoqueen, this is a tough one too. Go right into Trevenant because Sableye is your better answer. And Umbreon counter swap is not what you want to see. But Trevenant, yeah, I'm trying to think of something. But Trevenant, what? No, it loses to Umbreon. But if Umbreon gets a little bit greedy, let's say, and decides not to KO Trevenant, for example, and tries to undercharge and farm down, then perhaps Trevenant can get to enough Seed Bombs that it can force a shield out of Umbreon. It'd be even better if they CMP tied here, although that's very unlikely. So they get the farm down, but Trevenant grabs a shield, which is fantastic, as Sableye has a great matchup against their lead, Nidoqueen. So I'm going to farm up a little bit and just absorb the energy on my Azu. Yeah, it's kind of sketchy. Poison Fang deals a lot. Just going to store that play rough before I switch out, because I was expecting a Scrafty in the back. And because I was expecting a Scrafty in the back, I was hoping to stall the clock enough with my Sableye, such that I could land a play rough on the Scrafty. But in this case, it's Sableye instead. So my Sableye with this energy advantage might actually be able to take out their Sableye. It'll be close. I have the energy advantage, but they have the HP advantage. And they have the CMP advantage. The downside of having XL Pokemon is that your XL Pokemon will lose CMP every time. But luckily, I did get my CMP in. So we're going to be able to take out this Sableye. I'm going to race to the foul play here. I have the play rough loaded on my Azu, so I could have swapped and just taken it out. But I was scared of catching some errant poison jabs. So instead, we'll just stay in, get to that big foul play, and take out the Nidoqueen. So Nidoqueen lead. Umbreon switch. Shouldn't be winning those types of games, you might think, but this team has more play against its counters than I think people might give it credit for. Let's see what we have next. So this is on a different day. I turned off my native refresh rate for this because it was causing me some issues. I can maybe talk about that at the end of the video too. In this case, we have a Charm Ninetales lead, and this is absolutely what you don't want to see for your backline. So it's important that as you stay in and take this out, they actually no-shield my Hydro Pump, and a lot of people have been doing this, which is a bit weird, but I'm going to go for the Play Rough, and they don't shield. So glad I'm able to take out that A9. Surprised they didn't shield or throw a move. In this case, Venusaur comes in. I'm not going to shield. I want them to switch out, and the best way to get them to switch out here is hopefully by not shielding. Unfortunately, my Sableye, I didn't know the matchup, get exactly farmed down, which is not ideal. Anyways, we're going to stall the clock a little bit. Probably should have shielded once. And then come in with the Trevenant. They have a ton of energy here, so I have to shield just in case it's a Sludge Bomb. It's not. Of course, everyone loves to bait versus Trevenant. And then once again, they are going to throw another move, and I'm going to shield it up. My plan is to farm this Venusaur down. I'm sure they'll switch out now, though. No, they actually stay in. And then in comes Swampert. I throw a little bit early. That's a bad play. I should have farmed up a little bit more, because obviously they're not going to shield, but I think they realize it doesn't really matter if their Swampert gets taken out here and catches that move. Their Venusaur probably isn't going to get to another move against my Trevenant. Umbreon lead. You love to see these kind of leads. And they're staying in, which is very interesting. Usually means team is weak to Azu. This is also one of those matchups where XL Azu is a little bit better, right? Because these last resorts really chunk regular Azu. In comes Deoxys, and you go into Sableye with Deoxys. You can also go into Trevenant, but Sableye can take advantage of this matchup more strongly because you don't have to worry about Psycho Boost at all. So in this case, farm up to 100 energy. Just make sure they don't get to the second Thunderbolt there, otherwise you have to shield. You can throw this Foul Play. Like, this is such a dominant matchup. And then in comes Pidgeot, which is great. I'd love to see it here rather than in the back against my Trevenant. So I'm able to get 2 Foul Plays off here against Pidgeot. And then have to let my Sableye go down, unfortunately, and come in with the Azumarill. So I have a ton of energy. I'm just going to throw this Play Rough right away. No reason to go above 100. Just need to get any sort of damage on this Pidgeot. They're going to throw a move. I have to shield here. My Azu's not XL enough to survive a Brave Bird. And then I'm going to swap out into Trevenant. Very controversial, I know, versus this Pidgeot. But I really need to take it down. Trevenant has nowhere to go in this game because they do have an Umbreon too. And this is what I expected, the swap into Umbreon. I think that they're going to try and set up a full farm down, which is pretty smart on their end. But I'm able to get to my second C-Bomb versus Umbreon, deal quite a bit of damage, and not put it in farm down range, but get it kind of close to farm down range. In this point, I was kind of thinking I needed to save a move for this Pidgeot, but I didn't realize how low the Pidgeot was. So we're going to take out the Umbreon right away. In comes the Pidgeot. Could be a Brave Bird, but the thing is, Pidgeot players, they're one of two players. Either they only use... there's no such thing as a double move Pidgeot. Either the player will always throw Feather Dance, or they'll always throw a Brave Bird. This guy already threw Feather Dance, it seems like. So it was likely going to be a Feather Dance regardless. I'm not going to pretend like I know the counts for Pidgeot very well. Hypno lead, going to swap right into Trevenant. That's not the counter swap. So this is a Pokemon that is quite bad against Trevenant. Trevenant's one of the harder counters for Vigoroth just because Vigoroth can't even hit it with a Bulldoze. So it's like Jellicent if Jellicent resisted Bulldoze versus Vigoroth. So they can throw Body Slams here. They don't hurt that much. I'm going to throw a another Seed Bomb. And then it looks like this Vigoroth might even be in Shadow Claw downrange. The Body Slams don't do that much. I can probably even tank another Body Slam. It would be kind of close, but I think I could. And then in comes Hypno, which is great. I'm going to force them to shield. We'll either get the one shot with the Shadow Ball, or we'll get shield advantage and switch advantage out of this switch in, which is fantastic. Anytime you get shield and switch, it's almost for sure one game. They do a great job counting, but unfortunately for them, I've got the Sableye, the back line, as the hard counter here to the Hypno. And we're not going to even get to see what's in the back. It's likely that it was probably a Scrafty though. So, Scrafty against Azu, not a great matchup, as you might guess. Azu Mirror, this one you have to play it's a little tricky to play as well. There's a little bit of desync going around, it's like the flu. It's got a little bit of desync going around, and this time I'm on the winning side of that. So my goal here to deal some damage to this Azumarill and to take some damage on my Azumarill, so that I can come in and farm. Not farm, but get the Azu in farm range of my Sableye so I can safely make a switch here. Because I need to switch out of this lead in case they have a Dark type in the back. Azumarill, Umbreon, not an uncommon team, right? So this is something that you actually do have to worry about. I'm going to swap into Sableye, and they swap at the exact same time into Lickitung. That's right. Okay, so we were talking about core breakers earlier. I'm not going to talk too much about this game so much. I'm gonna talk more about the core breakers to this team. So Azumarill Trevenant, the main core breakers. Sorry, Azumarill Trevenant Sableye. The main core breakers, the Pokemon that beats all of them, is Lickitung. So this Pokemon is not very common in Open Great League because it requires a ton of XL and also isn't very good generally. So Lickitung generally isn't too much of a problem. just because you don't see it. The other one is Abomasnow, mainly Shadow Abomasnow here in the lead. It beats Azumarill extremely hard, especially my non-XL Azumarill. Probably heard me say non-XL Azumarill like 100 times today. And then Trevenant obviously gets absolutely stomped by Abomasnow as well. And Sableye doesn't have the best matchup either. So those are the two big ones. Nidoqueen is dealable with because Sableye is such a good matchup, but it is what it is. And anyways, we get a redo. Maybe the game will have blessed us with, well, this time I was the one hit with the desync bug. I started a little bit late, so they throw their play rough right away. And then they also got their move through, so I'm not winning this mirror match anymore. And maybe there's a different backline this time that perhaps my backline will be good against with this Azu. So they throw right away, which is great for me because I can throw right away too. And then swap into Sableye and just start the farm. But in comes Diggersby, so this is kind of unfortunate. Diggersby a great answer to the backline as well. Azu's the only one with a good matchup versus it, just because it double resists Ghost, of course. And then even though Trevenant can hit it with super effective Seed Bombs, it gets hit with super effective Fire Punches. In this case, they actually try and bait my Sableye, but I'm not shielding this thing. There's no way I can win back switch versus this Diggersby without spending way more shields than they do. This time, I think they go straight for the Earthquake. And it's time for my Azu to get its farm on here. Probably should come in a little bit faster, but they're going to swap out right away. I'm going to come in with Trevenant. Try and farm down this Azu. I don't mind spending a shield here. I really, really want to get energy so this Diggersby cannot come back in on the Trevenant. Right? So able to take down that Azumarill through the lag. And then in comes Lickitung. Oh, wow. Looks like another Azumarill Lickitung core. This is kind of tough, but my Trevenant will get as much damage off as it can. The farm down on Azu helps a ton here because it's the charge move damage that deals, or the charge moves that deal damage, not the fast moves in this case. So third Seed Bomb this is where it starts to hurt, and Trevenant does resist both of the charge moves, so it's not that bad of a situation to be in. But of course, the Body Slam will hurt quite a bit. I'm going to swap right out to my Azumarill. Gonna have to shield, and my goal here is to hopefully farm down. And this is a game where XL Azumarill would have likely won. So Diggersby comes back in. I'm able to grab a shield with the Play Rough that I've saved, and then grab another shield with another Play Rough I've saved, or I get to. But unfortunately, my Azu doesn't have very much health left. And if it had even 10% health left, if the Diggersby is forced to throw a move to take the Azu out, my Trevenant can get to a Seed Bomb there and win the game. Or it will time out and my Trevenant will win with more health than the Diggersby. So kind of unfortunate game. And once again, if this was an XL Azu, this would have been a 4-1 set, for example. And that's kind of why I stopped playing this team when I did, was because it was frustrating me when I was losing due to not having the resources that I should have access to. And speaking of core breakers, we are in core breaker alley right now. We have a Shadow Abomasnow lead coming in on this. I think my opponent knows my team for some reason, because they make a very interesting play here. I no shield, pretending to really want switch. Oh no, this is not this game. So I get to this foul play. They throw right away. Swampert outpaces, so smart of them to throw right away. I shield, hoping to get their shields down so that I can farm down with Trevenant and then take out the Abomasnow. But no dice. They don't shield. They don't care about switch advantage. They care about shields. And Abomasnow comes back in, and I don't have an answer to this thing. So we'll come in with Azu. Try and tank some of his energy. But it is a really tough situation to be in. In comes Sableye, and yeah. This is a top left at this point. I was expecting an Azu of their own, which would give my Trevenant somewhere to go. But yeah, this Sableye just makes it tough. I stay in. See if I can't make it to a Shadow Ball first. But at the same time, I need to have residual energy so I can beat this Abomasnow. And this Abomasnow is just gonna go to town. I don't know why I'm staying in this game. I just guess I just wanted to see how close I could get it going. But yeah, they just need a Weather Ball to take on my Azu. If they need an Energy Ball, maybe, just maybe, if they throw all their energy, I could get a win. But fact of the matter is they did not. So that's 3 core breakers in a row that we saw. That's fine. 3 may seem like a lot of counters leads in a row, but it's not. Flipping 3 coins it's a low percentage, so this can happen to anyone. Not gonna blame Dialgo or anything for that. So G-Fisk lead, we'll play this the same way as we always do. They just throw a Rock Slide here, so I'm gonna tank this for sure and try and hit this G-Fisk now that it's kind of low with this Foul Play. And they swap into Umbreon, so good thing I got that Foul Play off. In this case, obviously I'm not shielding anything versus Umbreon. And get to a return, deal some significant damage, and then threaten getting to another return. And hopefully they can throw, because like I said, my Azu can't really tank those play or last resorts as well as some other Pokemon. Yeah, barely gonna get to that return, which is kind of a big deal at this point. Would love to get this Umbreon low enough to farm down with Azu and not have to throw any moves. So Azu's gonna come back in, gonna farm down. I already have a decent amount of energy, so the fact that this Umbreon is really low is actually very nice. In this case, hopefully 2 Psychics doesn't take out Azu. It doesn't, and I am ready to switch after throwing a move, just in case this was my one shot at getting my energy out, and switch to Trevenant here. So Trevenant, pretty good matchup versus both Azu and Galarian Stunfisk, especially in the 2 shield, and especially if Azu doesn't have Ice Beam. And it seems like a lot of Azus aren't running Ice Beam nowadays. In this case, they throw just a Rock Slide, which I decide to not shield because I can live 1 Rock Slide, whereas I cannot live an Ice Beam and all the residual damage. So yeah, shield up the next Rock Slide. I got a bit greedy with that farm down, but it is what it is. They have 1 shield remaining. I have 1 shield remaining now. Just going to throw some Seed Bombs. Shadow Ball does more damage, but Seed Bomb's more consistent damage. So if I need 2 moves, might as well throw 2 Seed Bombs rather than throw 1 Shadow Ball and just pray. So they're going to throw a move, but Trevenant is, yeah, and it's play rough, which makes me feel really good because otherwise they're not going to get to their next move now for sure. Get the Seed Bomb off, delete this Azu, and yeah, that's a G-Fisk Azu team taken down. I guess this team is pretty meta too, so let's not, I shouldn't be, those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks, should not be making fun of people running meta teams right now. That's how I'm running Azumarill Sableye. Anyways, another G-Fisk lead, so you love to see these. This is probably one of the more comfortable leads because it feels, especially with an XL Azu, you don't really take too much. Yeah, like half of your health is gone. But on XL Azu, you still have like 60%, so it's pretty comfortable. In comes Azumarill itself. I'll throw a return at it, and you can see the difference here. Their Azu takes only half HP from this return, so I won't be able to Foul Play it down afterwards. I'm going to no shield this and just hope that they bait with the Ice Beam, but in reality they didn't. I chicken out, not going to make it to that next return, so we're going to throw the Foul Play, hope that they think that it's a return, but no, they're counting pretty well. We're going to come with Azumarill, absorb some of their air energy. No, I'm not. I'm going to throw, take them out first, and then come into Trev ASAP here and hope that Trev can kind of beat the back line. I wanted to tank a little bit of energy first because I know these Rock Slides will hurt quite a bit, but you can see that Earthquake almost takes out my Azumarill. And what I should have done is stay in for a little bit more with the Azu just to get to that play rough, so I have a move for whatever's in the back. In this case, it's Skarmory in the back, and they no shield. This gives me a win condition right here. I'm going to shield up because now my Trevenant has the ability to potentially farm this Skarmory down. It does. My Trevenant wins the 1 shield, and then it has these Seed Bombs for Stunfisk. So they still have 2 shields, unfortunately. So Seed Bomb 1 is shielded. Shadow Ball 2 is going to be shielded. Shadow Ball does way more damage, right? So if I can get it off, I can get it off. And then, once again, a game where I would have won with XL Azumarill. So it seems like I played this team a lot. I was getting consistent 3-2s. I think almost every set. No, every set has been positive. Most of them have been 3-2s. And I would say on average, I lose 1 game a set. Out of those 3-2s, obviously I didn't lose any games in the 5-0, but in those 3-2s, I lost about 1 game per set from not having an XL Azu. So, for those of you who don't think IVs matter, this is one case where it definitely matters. In this game, we had, the reason I was talking over it, we had the exact same thing. G-Fisk lead, So we play it the same way, and this time we swapped at the same time into Deoxys versus Sableye, which I've already told you how to play this matchup too. They come back with G-Fisk, and if you already have some energy here, you can absolutely force this G-Fisk into a terrible spot. They have to throw a Rock Slide to take you out, so their energy dry, they're very low on HP, as you can kind of deal with this. They swap on a Tropius, and this is kind of tough. I'm going to throw a Play Rough here, because at this point they still think I might have Ice Beam. So, get a shield, and then I got to come in with Trevenant and just pray. So, I'm going to shield up. I would shield a Leaf Blade even, because that residual damage is going to be enough to take me out. And I need to get to 2 Shadow Balls here, so I can at least force this Tropius down. In this case, they don't shield the first Shadow Ball, so I'm going to get to this Seed Bomb to force them to shield if they want to continue hitting me with Air Slashes, and they don't shield either. So I'll be able to get to this Seed Bomb, and this G-Fisk is very low. I have a shield remaining, so Azumarill should be able to even bubble down at this point, and yeah, I think maybe they were unable to use the last. I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but I think either way, Trevenant just lining a Shadow Ball would be enough for that Tropius. And I think last game of the set and the video, we have a Swampert lead. So Swampert lead always comes with a Skarmory in the back. We got to swap out to bring that out. And most people will bring their Skarmory into Sableye. I'm not sure if that's the correct play, but most people will do it. Especially because usually now there's a Drapion in the back, and Drapion is that better answer or more consistent answer to Sableye. If Sableye lands the return, it'll win. But in this case, it doesn't really matter what the Sableye lands. As long as you throw with good timing and you have an XL enough Sableye, you can win these matchups. So in this case, throw on CMP with them again. At this point, they know they're going to lose Switch regardless. So getting Switch is absolutely paramount when there's a Swampert on the other team. Not because Azu is bad against it, but Trevenant just has the most fantastic matchup here. Gonna farm up an absolute ton and then pop into my Azu versus Drapion. Very controversial choice here. Obviously, Sludge Bomb deals a lot of damage. This matchup is not changed by XL Azu. So go up to the Hydro Pump, throw the Play Rough. And they don't shield it. That's absolutely crazy. It's by far the most damage that is going to happen to them. And let's see if they take me out. No, they don't even take me out. They go for the Crunch and the Farm Down. In this case, I'm going to get to the Play Rough because of that play. And I will say, Trevenant is not bad against Drapion. I mean, it is bad, but it's not as bad as you might think. Shadow Ball does around like 50% of its HP. Seed Bomb is enough to take it out there. And then obviously Trevenant with a shield. This game isn't really that close by the end of it. I think if they'd thrown Sludge Bomb, it would have ended up being a very close game. But I think I still would have won, barring some crazy stuff. Either way, I believe that's another 3-2 set salvaged. One of like 6 or 7 that I had. And then I had that 5-0. But besides that, it was all 3-2. So very consistent team, I found. I even ran into a bunch of the core breakers. Like I said, I showed some of the harder games in this video. But still, positive sets. Just showing that this team really can succeed. One thing I did want to talk about, I said I would talk about the native refresh rate changes. Awesome change overall by Niantic. The game is super smooth now when you're just scrolling through the menus and stuff like that. The problem is, what I found from this native refresh rate change is that if you're running the native refresh rate, then regardless of what you do, if you switch out of your lead, the switch is going to count for a turn regardless. If your switch is normally counted for a turn, probably won't make any difference. But for me, sometimes my switches didn't count for a turn. With native refresh rate, they always do. And I was experiencing a little bit more desync as well. So I switched back to regular for now until they work out the kinks. Figured that could be a nice little PSA for those of you who stuck with me all the way through the video. But yeah, that is it. This is the team. It's a pretty good team, I think. I'll wait till I get an XL Azu, or I probably run it again. But it might be my end of season push team. We'll see. But as always, thanks for watching.